I think solo travel, one of the absolute biggest tests of a man or of a person. A lot of people, especially in Canada, especially in the US, they hide behind their title. Maybe they're the vice president at work. At work, they're fucking the man, they're super confident, whatever. In their social circle, same thing. But now you get them in an environment that no one knows they're the VP or whatever, the confidence fucking falls.
Other people's vibe up gets your vibe up. What I mean by this, the second you go down, you see your doorman, say good morning, buenos dias, bom dia, whatever. How are you doing? You're doing good, amigo. Like, just start trying to get people smiling, moving. Tell the grandma you see walking on the street, like, bonita, your shoes, they look beautiful, and see the smile on her face. Flirt with the barista at the cafe, a man or a woman, like, in a playful manner, if it's a man. But you're always trying to elevate other people's vibes, because in return, that puts you up.
You are about to embark on a journey, not just through space and time, but through the very fabric of human perception. Imagine a world where the familiar becomes strange, and the strange becomes familiar. A place where the boundaries of reality blur, and the only limit is your imagination. This is a voyage into the heart of the unknown, where every turn reveals a new perspective, and every story challenges what you thought you knew. Welcome to Bold Perceptions, where we explore the myriad ways people see the world, and discover that sometimes the most extraordinary adventures lie just beyond the horizon of our own understanding.
Here we go, back in Bold, another Cigar Lounge episode. I'm telling you, I'm back into this. Some credit to Mr. Graham. I appreciate him keep inviting me to these cigar lounges. But today, similar to our last one, that was about city focus, but I kind of want to talk about life on the road, our thoughts. I think these kind of conversations are great for the traveler, but also someone that's not living this life, because they can take what we're talking about and implement it into their own life. So, Graham, the first thing though, I want to hit on this because it was a tweet you had recently, and I think a lot of dudes deal with this in Latin America or any place where the cost of living is very cheap. Where all of a sudden you're elevated to the highest level, the 1%, and you start relaxing a lot. I think there's pros and cons to experiencing this, but tell me about that tweet that you just had that did some numbers.
Yeah.
Grab the mic.
Oh. Not an expert yet. I had a tweet recently where I detailed basically not only cost of living, but I detailed that it is much more challenging to grow financially and grow your income on the road. And a few reasons for that. Number one, this is not order, but one thing is, like Bold mentioned, the cost of living. When you go to a place where you can live good spending $3K a month, $2.5K a month, $4K, you can live good. Not work much, chill, enjoy life. So when you have that, you don't have the same pressure, motivation to grow. That's one thing that's a bit hard on the road. The second thing hard on the road is the fact that when you're in Canada and you're in the US, you're surrounded by very visible wealth. You see Lambos, you see all these crazy things. And I know people in the tweet are like, oh, yeah, look at these places in LATAM. It is literally so different. You go to Vancouver, where I'm from, you will literally see in one day, downtown, 20 supercars. You don't see a lot. So that's the second thing. You don't have the same kind of culture shock you don't have the same kind of motivation seeing kind of the visible wealth. Other thing I'll say about kind of being harder to build wealth in LATAM is not having the stability, right? Like when you're posted up in a home base in Canada, in the US, wherever, the first thing you have when you're posted up there is every single move you make, it either is going to raise your status or lower your status. If I'm working really hard and I'm growing, my status is raising. If I'm slacking off, it's lowering. In LATAM, it doesn't matter, man. You can fucking, you can live good on whatever. And just by being a foreigner, you're already a bit special and you have status. And the fact is, like, you can make $4,000 a month and be in the upper echelon. Like, it's a very different world. So the biggest thing for me is if you want to grow financially and you want to keep growing your income and life and all the things, you need to really focus on LATAM, different motivation sources. A lot of men, myself included, it's very easy to focus when you're in the West on, status and all these different things. You gotta have more intrinsic motivation, growth motivation, enjoyment of the craft. That's kind of the answer is it's a lot harder, but if you shift your motivation sources, you can very easily continue to grow well in kind of the LATAM lifestyle.
Or what you do really well is stay in the really rich areas. Go to the cigar lounge where the big money is. Surround yourself with the high class of Latin America who is freaking loaded. Okay, like they go band for band, with the top dogs in USA. It's just that's a tiny fraction. Everywhere else you go, you're not necessarily seeing that, and you feel like, why do I need to work? What is there to improve on? My life is already amazing. But there's a pro to this because a lot of dudes, oh my God, I just want to be in Miami in a penthouse and have all these beautiful women and be on the yachts and live this way. I'm like, dude, you don't need to work your ass off for 10, 15 years, make all this money, then finally go down to Miami, enjoy it for a month or two, realize you wasted 15 years of your life for this Fox goal that you thought would fulfill you. When instead, you could have went to Cartagena, you could have went to Florianopolis, you could have went to Rio, experienced it, realized it's not what you probably really wanted deep down. It's not fulfilling, but I worry about a lot of people who have this envision, okay, when I'm 40, when I'm 50, then I can go live the life I want to live. No, you can live the life now if you're earning good money in the West and geo arbitraging. And I think you should go there to open your mind. One thing that has done really well for me is like, I know if everything hits the fan, I could go freaking live in a village in Africa and be totally fine. And that's the point we're going to hit on about solo traveling, going to a new location and making your way. But I had that in the back of my head now where it's like, damn, I'm not going to go live on the streets or be a brokey if I'm not making a certain amount of money. Like I can survive and thrive anywhere in this world. So I think the biggest point is, yes, the aspirations, the motivation is dampened, and that's also with lifestyle, okay? The American mindset, the Canada has some of it, the high earners in Western Europe is different, completely different than the rest of the world. Like this is like, we think big, we dream big, we want to work. That like fulfills us, you know what I mean? Is it healthy? I don't know, but we put a man on the moon, okay? But there's also different ways of living and enjoying life, and I definitely think, I've always said it, it's the American mindset, Euro lifestyle with the third world paradise. I think if you had those trifecta, that you're going to be feeling really well. But hit on any of those points I just made quick, Graham.
Yeah, I can hit a few of them. So I'll hit on the kind of the I'll be happy when point. I fully agree with that. And I think it's a really healthy thing for the American, I'll put Canadian. With Canadian culture, it's very similar, because we're so close. So and European, but European less so, to be honest. Especially the American Canadian, the LATAM or probably the Europe, I would assume, even lifestyle is very healthy for our mindset. Because for a lot of us that are living in Canada or USA or wherever, our mindset is only work's all that matters. Let me get that next thing. When I get that house, I'm gonna be happier. When I get that bigger house, I'm gonna be happier. When I get that car, like it's very materialistic and status focused. Not that it's not here, but it's a huge portion of your life. One of the best things is when you come down to Latin America or a different country, you really learn, I think, what matters in life, in my opinion. Like you learn, what's real. Look, at the end of the day, as long as if you're eating good food, have good company, you got a drink, you got a cigar, life's good. You don't grow for the purpose of growing and chasing your dreams and all the purpose of it. Do it, but growing for
material things is
status and material, it's not it. You don't need to. You grow for yourself, but not for the things that the majority of society is growing for. I think that's my kind of point on your point.
Yeah, the biggest thing I tell people is you need to go experience the life that you so desire that you're willing to work 40 years for, type thing. I'm going to go retire in Florida and everything's going to be Hakuna Matata on the beach, and then after 6 months you're bored as hell and you don't know what to do with life anymore. You know what I mean? And you look back at everything like, damn, all those kids practices I missed, all the overtime I worked, all that, was it really worth it? Because now I'm not necessarily as fulfilled. It happens to a lot of people. So I think the biggest point with these culture shocks, living in very affordable places, is to slap you in the face like, damn, money really isn't the end all be all. And, you know, a lot of people have a lot of money. You know, some of them are happy, yeah, but a lot of them, there's something else they bitch about. You know, there's something else they cry about. And it's just a good reality check seeing, you know, how people live down here and make the most out of everything. I brought it up kind of in this point, and look at this. I'm going to give Graham a lot of credit. He comes off like a little douche, you know, sometimes. And I love he's wearing this suit right now, but he'll have these tweets. I'm like, damn, bro, like, you're 24 years old, and that's a very good thought. And one of them, and they're pretty bombastic to get engagement, okay? That's marketing. But one of them was about solo traveling, and like that's like, was it the ultimate man thing? Or I tweeted to you, like, it's peak.
It was like
explain
a joke,
that one.
but it's also a serious tweet kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I think solo travel is one of the absolute biggest tests of a man or of a person. I'll tell you the reason why. Because let's say, for example, and here's another point as well on the kind of same non-material thing. A lot of people, especially in Canada, especially in the US, they hide behind their title. I'll give you an example. Maybe they're the vice president at work. At work, they're fucking the man, they're super confident, whatever. In their social circle, same thing. But now you get them in an environment that no one knows they're the VP or whatever, the confidence fucking folds. It's over. Like, they're a shell of themselves. And that's why I think solo travel is such a valuable test of a person, because you drop into a new country, no one fucking knows you, no one cares about you, no one whatever. And when you can master the art of solo travel, and especially nomad, not even solo travel, like when you can master the art of going to one city for a month, then the next city, then again, and every single city dropping down within a week, you got a social circle, you got girls, you got your gym, you got like building a life and just being that guy without any care in the world for possessions is a very powerful thing, and it's also a very freeing thing, because when you're not dependent on any type of material or status or whatever for your confidence and for your ability to make friends and network, it's very freeing. You don't go around worrying about, oh man, what if I lose this job? What if my income drops? Because you just know, you know what, no matter what, I'm gonna be good. And like Bolt said, you know that you can go to a cheaper place, but like he would, I'm sure, agree with as well, you know that even if you were poor, you would still be that guy. Like, you would still be, you're not attached. It's a very powerful feeling, that detachment is what I would say.
You're stripped of all reference points, status, anything when you come down here. Yeah, you can wear a nice watch. Yeah, you can dress nice. Yeah, you can look like a gringo and white skin in some places. Okay, but still, no one knows you. No one really gives a fuck about you. Yeah, okay, they might start asking for money, this and here, the homeless guy out there, but it's on you in the moment. Nothing else, nothing external, unless you're some social media famous person and you just start tweeting at everyone that's famous in the city. You need to be out on the street, talking to people, making connections in the cigar lounge, and it's you and your balls. That's it. It's a clean slate, but with that clean slate, you also have to rebuild, who you are necessarily, and make those connections and show your presence. But it shreds everything external about you, okay? Nothing external necessarily matters anymore. It's only internal, and the internal shapes the external, right? Your vibe, how you treat people, the way you move, the way you talk, like that is like the ultimate factor. And if you can do that here, there, every otherwhere, it gives you all unlimited confidence, and like Graham said too, when you go on the road, when you do this solo stuff, you're not trapped with any preconceived identities, social programming, religious programming. It's just you in a foreign world, and you're by yourself, right? So you figure out a lot of different things about what you like, what you don't like, who you are, what feels good, who you want to be around, and you grow up in the United States, you watch American football, you come down here, no one really cares about it. After a few months, you're like, damn, did I just watch that because that's what we all did? Like, that was part of my culture. Like, these guys, when they watch soccer, what if they grew up in the USA? It would probably be different. But you make a great point about like the VP Back home in the office with the secretary, he's the man, right? This is his frame, right? He's in his frame. You take him out of his frame, you put him down in frickin', Cancun, and Pablo, the beach seller, is mocking him in front of his wife, just his swagger. Or Steve, the scuba diving instructor in Thailand, everyone wants to talk to him, and you're sitting in the corner like a dork, right? I've seen it too many times to count where these dudes that have all the money in the world, have all the power back home, become a total shell of themselves because they're out of their environment, okay? And once they're out of their environment, they're not comfortable anymore. They don't know necessarily who they are or what defines them.
Let me touch on that, and that's so true, and it's actually very powerful with women. The solo travel thing, and I'll tell you what I mean by this, is here's the thing, is I know so many people back home, more family friends, but like guys that are very successful, multimillionaires, like very successful people I know that are older, and they are like they're alpha, like they're pretty alpha, ultra successful, all these things, but their frame is so tied to their status and all that they're still not the man in their relationship. They might be the man out at the office or wherever, but in their relationship they're getting fucking bossed around. Oh, happy life, happy wife. Oh, please fuck, like all these things. And one of the things, when you unlock that ability to wherever the fuck you go, you're that guy. You can network. You can make shit happen. You are never going to find yourself in a situation where you are
living in scarcity.
Exactly. Where you're living in scarcity and where you are. Someone else has the leverage over you. Like it's a very powerful thing. If someone can learn this thing of heading to a new city, instantly making friends, connections, girls, all these small things, it's one of the most powerful skills you can learn in life.
So let's talk about that networking thing. Let's give some practical tips to people.
Sure.
Because I've seen him do it a lot. It's very impressive. First time I came to the cigar lounge, we had 3 conversations going on. We ended up going out to dinner with one of the dudes, Brazilian guy. But me, it's all about being light on your feet and getting other people's vibe up gets your vibe up. What I mean by this, the second you go down, you see your doorman, say good morning, buenos dias, bom dia, whatever. How are you doing? You're doing good, amigo. Like, just start trying to get people smiling, moving. Tell the grandma you see walking on the street, like, oh, bonita, your shoes, they look beautiful, and see the smile on her face. Flirt with the barista at the cafe, a man or a woman, like in a playful manner, if it's a man. But you're always trying to elevate other people's vibes, because in return that puts you up. I think you need to get out of the house. One, a lot of people all of a sudden get stuck in the house, watch Netflix.
Digital dorks.
Yeah, they order food, because it's super cheap on the Rappi or whatnot. You need to go out for walks, do your 10,000 steps, see different historical things, and then looking good too. This is a good thing that you do. He dresses well a lot. I usually put together nice, but right now, another topic is living with a woman or traveling with a woman. Every time I'm wearing one thing, she wants to wash it. I said, no, I can wear it once or twice. Like, she got to constantly wash these different clothes, but I love dressing nice. You have to look good because, like I said before about your status or your reference points when you're here, the only thing you have is your vibe and what you look like. People are superficial, right? So if you're dressed nice, you look pretty solid, you're going to get a certain kind of respect compared if you're looking like a homeless or a hippie type person, right? It's a first impression. So Graham, those are kind of my main points of networking, about staying light. Give me some practical tips.
I think the most practical tip is it's so simple, but it's just talk to people, man. I think so many people in the world do not do that, especially in West. Like, it's like a lot of people, you see the person, they go to a cigar lounge and they just
on their phone the whole time.
Exactly, on their phone, sit them themselves. They go to work. Like, that's the first step, is just have the conversation. The advantage you have traveling is already people are interested in you. It's a bit of a different thing. Like when you're in your home country, I mean, you're just another dude, whatever. So like it's still pretty easy. You can talk to people, but like it's even easier when you're traveling. If you're in Latin America, Asia, wherever the fuck you are, people are kind of curious. Why is this guy here? What's he doing? And they already kind of want to engage right away. It's kind of like for me, if I'm in Canada, I see a Japanese guy, I'm like, yo, what the fuck are you doing here? Like, I'm just curious, right? So like the first thing is just talk to people. Now for a lot of people, the challenge is that is not so easy advice. I'm lucky that I've always been pretty good with that, and also I did door-to-door sales for 3 years, which that even made things like on steroids. But Filipinos not easy. So the first thing I would say, it stems from confidence, and for me, what confidence is caring more about my opinion of myself than Bold's opinion of me. That's what confidence is. Because if I care about my opinion of myself more than the outside opinions, I'm going to be confident. So to get that confidence, there's a few things. The first thing is keep the promises you make to yourself. For example, if you say, I'm going to go to the gym at this time in the morning, go then. If you say, hey, I'm going to make this amount of calls, make that amount of calls, because that builds self-trust and that builds confidence. That's step one of the formula. Step two, that's even maybe more powerful, is learn some type of very, very valuable skill, an intrinsically valuable skill. I'll give you some examples. If you are very good at sales, like for me, that's probably my best skill is sales. I know it doesn't matter. If I got down to $0 right now, I go knock on doors and sell. Like I have this intrinsic skill I have that gives me confidence. It could be the ability to make money, like sales. It could be the ability to fight. You walk into a room, you're like, dude, I kick his ass. It could be the ability
professional football player.
Yeah, that I don't know. Yeah. It could be the ability to pick up chicks. Like these, honestly, this is a very intrinsic skill you have. That skill will always shine through. So that's what I would say is, if you want to get good networking people, the key is talk to people. To do that, the key is to put yourself out there, talk to people. To feel comfortable doing that, you need to make sure that you have like an intrinsic skill. Keep promise you make yourself. And the last thing is you need to put yourself in the right environment. Probably the right environment is not like, it's going to be go to a place like a cigar lounge, go to maybe a sports group, go to wherever you want to meet, go to that environment. Just like with girls.
You kind of brought it up, the delusional aspect, which is one of my favorite things about you. Wearing a suit jacket in front of the cathedral in Bogota. But this is a big point that I've talked about a lot, is the world literally bends to the delusional types, okay? Every once in a while, reality is going to slap you in the face to make sure, you're not just completely delusional without action. But you'd be surprised more times than not, thinking that you are this way ends up the external world validating it, right? So sometimes, especially in a foreign country where no one knows you, be whoever the fuck you want. Put that bravado on. If that's how you feel, that's what you want to be, and see how the world treats you, okay? Because you'll be shocked. Back home, okay, Jimmy knows me, Megan, she saw me in second grade do this, right? Like, you're trapped in identities, okay?
Yeah.
When you go out here, everything is gone. It's completely erased. So you can, be a whole different person if you wanted to be, or be the person you've been wanting to be, right? So that's a big thing when he's talking about, I think, the confidence in networking. Okay, maybe back home you'd be scared to talk to this person because, okay, if you say something stupid, then it's going to get back to the friend that knows you from grade school or that works at your job. Here, it doesn't fucking matter. You vibe or you don't vibe, otherwise you move on, okay? Be careful. Don't be an asshole, okay? Because karma will get you, even though a lot of times you never see these people ever again. You need to be still a good person, but you're free from this feeling that I have to be what my friends say I am, what my family says I am, or my culture, religion, everything, right? Delusion. Talk to me again more through some of your delusion, because bro, you're not the tallest guy. You're skinny. You have a punchable face. You have a lot of things, but you walk around like you got the biggest nuts, in the city. How does one get that besides door-to-door sales? Okay, obviously that's a big thing, but bring me through your delusional, mindset. Where you're always like this as a kid, or there's a shaping experience that pushed you to act this way.
To be totally honest, I was always kind of like that. I think here's the thing, because I think it's very true. Like I'm skinny. If you can't see, but I'm skinny. I'm 5'7". I'm not 6'3". Maybe 5'8", but I would say 5'7". But 5'7.5". But it's a few things. I think for someone like myself, I'll just speak for myself because here's the thing: is every single person, every single guy or girl, whatever, we all have our big pros and we all have our big cons. It's very rare you meet someone that is 6'4", great looking guy. Also, he's confident. Also, he's good with his words. Like, you don't see that. You see guys that are 6'3", not good looking, good with his words. 6'3", good with their words, not good looking. Like, all these different things you see, right? You don't. So it's understanding that. Like, whatever your flaws are, you might not be the best looking guy. You might be short. You might be whatever things. Just understanding whatever. It's fine. The second thing is to, at least for me, like, I would never let the internal affect the external. Like, I would, it's like a weird, it's a weird, like, I would never let that happen.
Wait, dive into that more.
I would never let, like, I would never, let's say if I was, 'cause here's the thing, 5'7", it's short, but it's not like so short where it's like really a problem. Let's say I was like 5'3", for example, okay? And let's say I was like not the best looking guy. Let's say, like, here's the thing. What are your fucking options? I mean, you have two options. You can either accept the circumstances and live your life low status, low confidence, all these things, or you can play the fucking cards you are dealt. And I think that's one of the biggest things is play the cards you're fucking dealt and use it to your advantage. Like, for me, where my maybe delusional confidence comes from is I know that every single, like, even just, so I'll take a social perspective. I know every single room that I walk in, I know I'm a pretty good communicator. I know the fact that I can go in that room, I can control conversation, I can maneuver in a very good way. I know that. For me, yeah, I'm skinny, yeah, but I'm skinny, whatever, I'm shorter, but
you focus on your pro.
It doesn't like, it's like whatever, like, I know, like, that doesn't matter. What matters is, can you take control of the conversation, right? That'd be one thing.
And listen though, you came back, or before this you said about developing a skill. This skill was developed. You might have had natural gift to gab when you're young, but I got way better at it, for sure, through the rigor, through door-to-door sales. So now, like, what I was saying is, okay, Graham comes in here and he forgets that, he's 5'7", he's got a punchable face, like, all this bullshit, but he knows, like, hey, I'm coming in this room and I know I'm going to be able to talk my way with any of these people better than them, and introduce that guy to this guy and come in with that presence, okay? So that's what he's focusing on. That's what I think you were kind of getting into is, like, I'm not going to focus on what I wasn't blessed with or what I'm not gifted at. I'm going to take my pro and maximize it in the environment here. And this kind of environment, the people that can talk, those are the ones that, run the show in here.
Exactly. And so that's like, would be like for me personally, and I'll shift it back to kind of for the viewer. I'll think with girls, for example, like, even for me, with girls, I know I'm not the tallest. I know I'm skinny. That skinny thing I don't really care about that much, but I'm a pretty good looking guy and I'm good with my words. So it's like, you just gotta know your pros, because the thing is, like, a lot of guys, I think, get stuck in their cons. They think, oh man, but I'm fucking, like, maybe I'm not a great looking guy, or I'm short, or I don't know, I'm not that confident. Whatever these things are, focus on your pros. And the last thing about this delusion is delusion. It comes from actually being competent. So, for example, one of the best things as a man is the fact that as a man, you really do control your destiny. Here's the thing. As a girl, the sad reality is the fact that as a girl, if you're not born a great-looking girl, life is just, to be honest, it's more challenging. As a man, you can be born whoever the fuck you are, and you can make it happen. So I would urge the people, if you want to be someone that improves whatever area, whether it is business, girls, relationships, etc., audit yourself. What are your pros? What are your cons? If you can solve your cons, solve the cons. If you're fucking balding, like if I was balding, get a hair transplant. If your teeth suck, get veneers. But like, solve your cons and raise your pros. That's what I would say basically. Long story short, it's just become competent. Will help with the delusion as well.
The last piece on this delusional thing is once the external world starts validating your delusions, it sticks inside. Okay, so a great example of this, I've said it before in some past podcasts. When you grow up, you see SI Illustrated magazine or swimsuit edition. You think about the models and you think, oh my God, I need to be professional athletes, billionaire, the man to get with these women, right? And everyone has these limiting mindsets, right? Mine got completely shattered when I started being more delusional, living in Italy and experiencing these type of relationships with said models, okay? But I would have never got to that point without thinking and making myself believe that, no, I don't need to be this or that to be with this type of woman. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden you get with that type of woman, you realize, wow, it definitely wasn't everything I expected, but also it reaffirms in your brain, damn, I am that guy, right? My delusion is, the external world is saying my delusion's real. And that's a compound effect. Once that starts happening, you're like, holy shit, what else can't I do? And it's not just on the woman aspect. There's many different aspects, like money. All the money Twitter always talks about the money. Like, people have these limiting beliefs about, okay, like $10,000 a month is a lot of money, okay? And all of a sudden, they get one client that's paying them $10,000 a month. And they're like, what? And then it's $50,000, and it's $100,000, and it just keeps going because the world... What's that quote by Steve Jobs? The world favors gives the bold the opportunity. The crazies.
The crazies change the world. The crazy people change the world.
And then fortune favors the bold. It is what it is, bro. Like, the universe works in this crazy way where if you just say, no, I'm going to jump into the deep end, more times than not, you're going to get rewarded. And when you don't get rewarded, as long as you don't die, drive the car off the highway too fast, it's a great learning lesson. And the universe is just testing, like, hey, do you actually deserve this delusional mindset you put on? Get back on the highway, start going fast again, and know next time, don't turn the wheel as quick. Graham, next point. We're going. We have good conversations, Graham. You know that?
I agree. Next point. On that, I don't have much more to say on that. I'll touch on one more thing on that, but the bottom line is that I agree with all of that. The thing I'll touch on is the thing I'll touch on is this and I'll tie it back to LATAM a little bit, but I think the number one belief that a person can have, and I actually think this is the biggest advantage for someone that grows up, like myself, I did, like in an upper middle class to upper class family, is the fact that if you grow up in upper middle class to upper class family, one of the biggest things that you are taught, and I think, Nick, you're going to agree with this because Nick was in the same boat, is the fact that you're taught that you are in control of your reality and that your actions contribute to your reality. I think a lot of people that grow up in a lower class environment aren't taught that. They feel that the world is against them and all these things. And that's one of the things that you need to, if you weren't taught to grow up, that's fine. You need to drill in here that you were in control. And the fact is, it doesn't matter what your circumstances are. Make it fucking happen. Whatever you want to do. If you're traveling let's say you're having trouble with girls, for example, which many guys, that's the thing. Okay, don't blame the world. Don't blame girls. Don't become a fucking incel. Okay, well, what do girls want? Girls want a guy with presence, that's a good communicator. Okay, let me learn communication. Girls want a guy that's cleaned up right, that's dressed, like, just fucking go to the shower. Gym. Like, it's that. It's like, it's beliefs important, and one of the most important belief to cultivate, in my opinion. I know we're getting a little bit off the travel thing, but to cultivate is you are in control. Assess your reality, and if you're unhappy with the reality, take the easy step. Take the simple steps that aren't easy to grow and to fix whatever kind of deficiencies or whatever things that you aren't happy with in life.
And Graham, it's a beautiful point about how we grew up in USA and Canada. We are, as a young age, said, hey, look, this is your life. Like, the choices you make, you can do what you want. You can be an astronaut when you're a kid, the president of the United States. This is America for sure. Yeah. At least when I grew up, you could be wherever you wanted, right? This is so rare in the rest of the world. You can't even comprehend, in Brazil, in Kenya, in Cambodia. Many of them, this is my lot in life. There's nothing that's ever going to change. I am stuck in this position. Luckily now, and well, one, if you're listening to this and you're speaking English, you already have you have a ton of opportunities, so you have no excuses. But the internet has gone into the brains of a lot of these people and started giving that similar mindset. Now, not everyone can be top dog. We need Uber drivers. We need this person. We need, whatever. But it's there for you to get out of the race, to get to the next level and not feel like, okay, this is my class I was born to. Like in Colombia, it takes 10 generations to get out of poverty. Okay, you see these favelas over here. Oh my God, these people, this is their life. But now they have the internet. I have a guy. I did a podcast with him. Crazy story, insane story about being freaking the Chapo of managing the favela for the old dudes at 17 years old, shot by the police, tattoos everywhere, in prison. Crazy story. But he got onto the internet. He learned English, and then he started making money through the internet, doing other stuff with American football. But now there's opportunity. There's so much freaking opportunity. And you can take that mindset that we were blessed with, how we grew up with, and incorporate it into your life. my editor. My editor from Bogota, I don't know, I don't think he's from a rich family at all. And he watched the last podcast, the editing. Yeah. And he's like, damn, bro, he's been saving up the money that I've been paying him, his other Upwork gigs and so forth. He's like, I was going to take this jump to Spain last year and try to find a way over there. Because Colombia is it's tough. It's tough over here for sure. As someone that, if you don't have money, you're not from a rich family. And he's like, damn, this podcast, it stuck with me. It's the trigger I needed. And it's like, go fucking try it. The worst thing that can happen is hopefully you have money to get back home to your family. If not, take a couple nights on the street. But the opportunity is there nowadays with the internet. It's opened the door. And I think that was just the beautiful point, is so many people don't realize how lucky they are they even had that mindset in the first place. And you need to take advantage of that mindset.
I agree. I think now let's transfer over. I think we're going to shed the gospel here. I think we can talk a little bit. I'll start with it. We're going to go through in this podcast a lot of different topics on thriving in this life. We've obviously gone over thriving from meeting new people, networking, all those things. We've gone over kind of how to network, the delusional belief, all these things. But I think now a topic that is a real problem, and Nick and I see it all the time, is dating. And you'd be surprised. A lot of people, this is what they expect. I'll give you an example. Let's say you talk about or you post about with a girl or whatever, and it's a girl that's from Latin America or Asia or wherever the fuck they're from. A lot of you got comments like, oh, she just wants you for the visa, blah, blah, all these things. When you're down here, it's not reality for various reasons. There's a percentage, but that's very rare. But one of the most surprising things why I say that is the fact that, I'm sure you see it, Nick, is I would say the majority of dudes that come down here, they end up dating you imagine this.
It's fun.
Nice seeing you, bro. Nice seeing you. Very good to see you. The majority, let me restart. The majority of guys you see down here that are upper echelon in income because they're from the USA, they have status, all these things, and they're dating an absolute fucking 3. You'll be walking around at a mall. You see this guy. Solid looking guy with an absolute burial girl. And I think, and to touch on that is I think, and we're going to touch on tactical stuff, but it goes back, and I'll touch on tactical after I pass the Nick, but it goes back to all of the belief and the self-belief. The first step is changing that. A lot of guys, I was lucky, Nick was lucky, where we did well with girls back home, but even if you didn't do well with girls back home, a lot of guys back home are like, oh man, I'm tough with girls, and they have this identity of not being good with girls. They come down here. It's easy with average girls. They end up with an average girl, and that's it. And the first step is change the mentality. You don't talk about the tactics, but maybe you want to talk about kind of some tactical stuff to kind of dialing that part in. Because I think one thing you'll agree with the fact that it doesn't matter how much money you have, how much things you have. If you haven't figured out that women part of your life, you'll never be happy. It's one of my kind of strong opinions.
Yeah, you see that with 56-year-old dudes in Colombia, in Thailand, in Kenya, again. It's really sad. You see with Jeff Bezos dating Tony Gonzalez's ex-wife. Yeah. But yeah, this is a big topic. I don't really talk about it as much anymore, but in this space, a lot of dudes, they come down here single, and this is a part of the life that you need to, and I don't say you need, but it's very fulfilling to have a partner by your side and have a healthy dating life, because, dating destroys a lot of men, for sure. They get in the wrong situation, they freaking get stabbed by Latinas, or their bank accounts are drained, they're sending money while she's banging Pablo in the favela. So yeah, there's 110% a problem with dudes that first come down here that never got attention. Okay, so if you're one of those guys, you come down here and they start saying papi and amor and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, you fall for it really quick because you've never felt it before. But you need to be very, very careful because so many dudes crash and burn down here for many different reasons. Okay, I don't blame the woman at all. Okay, I mostly blame the man, but there's big cultural differences. Okay, and people don't understand this when they go down here, how they operate, how they think, how you grew up, and this clashes many times. And I've been a proponent. Obviously have your fun. Kiss a lot of frogs before you get the prince or what the
Prince.
princess. Like when you do all that, you go, you slay a bunch of dragons to get the princess. There it is. Too much vino. So I think you need to do a little bit of that. Don't be a passport bro, man whore. We're talking about breaking hearts and the thing.
Yeah, I told that for you.
You need to be a gentleman. Okay, you can be, as long as you're honest, then it's no one else's fault. If you're gonna lie to him and say, oh yeah, you're gonna be my wife and I'm gonna get you a passport,
I'm living here as you're leaving. Yeah,
exactly. Or you come to a place for a week, you say I'm living here or something. Like, you gotta be smart. Okay, as long as you're honest, be honest with them and it'll be Hakuna Matata. But yeah, there's a big problem with dudes that are traveling that, like you said, good looking, have money, have their stuff together, and they just go for like the bottom of the barrel, and maybe those girls are good sometimes, but I think the best success you're going to have is you're dating the ones that went to international schools, okay, that can speak English, that their families have been doing stuff for a long time, that have their own money, that aren't looking for necessarily materialistic external things. As much as dudes say, and it's getting pushed back now, oh, the women are so much more traditional outside the Western world, they're not, okay? A lot of them, it's in survival mode, and they have a lot of different options, and they're very cunning, especially with social media now, okay? Pros and cons to dating outside of where you're from, for sure.
Yeah, we'll touch on in a second also the red flags to look out for, because there's certain things, I think a lot of guys, they just don't know. A lot of guys are really lost with reading people, I've noticed, just in my experience. But we'll touch on that. But as far as tactically, how you can come down here and actually have a fulfilling dating life, a couple things. I mean, I'll tell you for me what I would do is, first thing, I'm a big proponent of a few things, but I would definitely, I'll give some tactical stuff because I was very down on it. First thing is the apps. One of the biggest issues with the apps with guys is most of you dudes out there have horrible fucking photos. It is actually retarded. It's retarded. So your photos are horrible. The second thing to realize is your photos are portraying what girls you want to attract. I'll talk about off the apps in a second, but a good example. A lot of guys have these very travel-esque photos. Well, almost backpacker vibes. So who are you going to be attracting with that? You're going to be attracting the kind of the hippie chicks, the chicks that have a little dyed hair, all this shit that you probably don't want. Maybe you do, but you probably don't want. So like, audit good photos. And who are you trying to attract? If you're trying to attract the good-looking chicks in the app, and there's less, but they're there, get good photos, be classy, get good photos. The first thing.
Hey, hold on. About that hippie Latina colored hair girl that most likely speaks English, people bash them all the time, but I'm telling you, they can be a great friend, a fuck buddy. They can show you crazy times, like unique, not in just the rich bubbles, like go authentic places while speaking English, right? So they really they say, oh, we hate gringos, gringo go home. They don't at all, okay? But they can give you experiences that are not on Airbnb experience that you have to, know this person, that person that doesn't speak English, right? So don't dismiss those. I don't think I would get married to them or date them, but they are fun and good people that can be your friend for sure.
Yeah, friend, or if they're attractive, whatever. But I think the real play, as you touched on earlier, is find the girls that are in my opinion, the best is educated, some family money, obviously good looking. Like that's kind of what you want to find ideally, and you can easily find. But that's kind of the apps thing. Is it's a photo game. Second thing, if you're a guy that's on the apps, do not be Zach Rapinski. Do not be this guy. Shout out to Zach right here. This guy is the talker of all talkers. You can find this man might be on the. This guy would text her on an app, and I'm sure he's talking to her for 20 messages. It's done. It's over. I'm at like. Just think logically here. Okay, so let's say you talk to the girl on the app for a while. She goes in the app to check your messages, and she's checking the app with probably 70 other messages. It is retarded. Close the fucking deal. What's that mean? You get her. Let's say you match with her. What you want to do? When you match with her, within the second message, get her Instagram or WhatsApp. Get off the app instantly. Close fast. That's the first thing. For the apps, then from there, book a date and easy. It's whatever.
I copy paste every message.
Yeah, same thing. Get them off the apps. Now, as far as an in-person thing, it all comes back again to what we talked about earlier, and that's why we talked about it. Is the kind of the delusion. What I have, maybe it's not healthy, but what I have with girls, I've always had. I have this feeling like, you know what? Every single girl I approach, I'm gonna get her number. Like she's gonna be fucking down, and I'll be totally honest. Like again, like I'm a pretty good looking guy, good talker. I'm like fucking dude. I'm 5'7". Like I'm not the tallest guy. Everywhere in Canada, here, almost every time when I approach a girl, almost every time I get her number, and like it goes positive. Also, you have to have that belief, like you're that guy. To have the belief, and I would say this is
and just so you know though, like it's very scary, when you first start talking to girls in the street, and it's a lot more challenging in Latin America compared to like a Europe, walkable cities that are safe, right? A lot of places here, okay, Buenos Aires, Argentina is fine.
Language
right?
too.
Yeah, language, but that actually is easier. You say, hey, do you speak English? Like that's an easier opener. But in Brazil, at a lot of places, you take Uber because it's dangerous to just walk in the street, and all of a sudden you go up to someone, randomly, might be on edge. So, but what I was saying is, it's not like he's acting like it's the most easiest thing in the world. It takes time to learn how to sell. Okay, it takes time to go talk to someone on the street. Oh my God, what am I going to say? How am I going to continue the conversation? That's why I said before, staying light on your feet. When I wake up, I try talking to everyone. You look good. Hey, I hope you have a great day, right? So at the time there is a pretty girl walking the street, I'm already in the conversational mode, right? And I know how to escalate the conversation, create comfort, all that, and close. Okay, but it takes time, and you have to get your ass slapped, not figuratively, but like, why are you talking to me? Or you stumble your words, or like the conversation goes nowhere. It's a skill that's developed, okay? But anyways,
yeah, I agree. And also, you're a great point, because the thing is, here's the thing I will say I will agree with, like, definitely for me, doing the door-to-door sales thing really helped that, because for 3 years of my life, I got rejected every day, all the time, right? And I knocked on doors 6 days a week. So it's like, it's not really, but like,
and then you didn't die when you got rejected.
No, exactly.
People literally think if I say the wrong thing, like my world is going to collapse. But if you get it every freaking day and you turn out fine, then you realize, it's not a big deal at all. You have an abundance mindset.
And also know a few things. Know it's a numbers game, and also know you're in control. Like if you go there and you are put together well, you're whatever, you say the right things, you're probably going to get her number. And if you don't, you're only probably 3 approaches away. So like, know it's numbers, approach girls. The more you do, the easier it gets. And also have kind of I kind of think everything like sales, to be honest, but like have kind of a little bit of a script. Like Nick said, hey, easy opener is you speak English. Like, don't reinvent the fucking wheel every time. Have a little thing. Okay, I'm gonna say this first. Next to say this, what I would do is this. I would go up to them and be like, a lot of them would be like, hey, I'm new to the area. I'm actually looking I'm curious with locals. What are some really great restaurants here? They're like, yeah, you know what, these. And then I just start asking them, I go, hey, what about you? Do you like this is a kind of a dumb line, but it works. Hey, do you like sushi or Italian more? Like what? They're like, I like Italian more. And I literally say, okay, awesome. I'm gonna take you for an amazing date. We're gonna get Italian. And I just pass my phone, get their Instagram, boom, done. So like you just have a script, follow it, the more you approach, the easier it gets. And I think just doing that, like if you can just dial in the apps, you can approach girls, and you can really work on your confidence and sense of self. You're gonna have an amazing time. Last thing though that a lot of guys have trouble with is the
let me hit on that
red flag. Oh yeah, hit on that, then I'll go red flags. Yeah.
The day game part. Okay, so when you first start, you can play the little friend game where like, hey, I'm a foreigner. Where's the local Starbucks? You know, and then at the end try to get their number just to get conversation going. Now him, like, I can see like he probably has like a vibe when he does it. That's not like I'm coming off like a I want to be your friend vibe, right? But the more you get into it, you need to go to the point. Hey, excuse me, you look very beautiful. Do you speak English, right? Right out the gate, she knows, like, I'm not going to be a snake. I'm saying, like, I think you're beautiful, and more than likely, I'm going to want to get your number and take you on a date. A lot of dudes will do the dumbest shit, like, where's the Starbucks? You have a fucking phone. You can Google Map. You know what I mean? Like, and the girl knows what you want. And to me, it shows that you don't have balls. It's better you go up there. You say, hey, you look very good today. I like your shoes. It reminds me of this. You know, do you speak English? Excuse me, like that. Than it is to play the friend game. Okay, but in Latin America, I think playing the friend game is not bad because that's their culture a lot with like tutubom and friendliness and not as somewhat direct, but you're going to do yourself a big favor if you're going to try to go talk to girls on the street anywhere in the world by being open with your intentions, okay? And they respect you for it.
And it's about escalating. So I agree with that. Like sometimes as well, and I'll share what I would do, but I'll share that. But like sometimes I'd even be like, hey, like oh my god, I would literally just be like, I'd be like, I need to get your number. Like I just first approach, I need to get your number. Boom, you're so beautiful. But that works. But make sure you don't go fully friends. Notice the key there. What I said, what I would do is I would say the first question would be something like, hey, you know what? I'm looking for an amazing restaurant, but it would lead somewhere. My second question wouldn't be, oh, thank you so much. It would be, awesome. Do you like sushi or Italian, whatever more? They answer and then say, my third thing would be, awesome. I'm gonna take you for an amazing date there. Like it's all, you gotta escalate. A lot of guys, they don't understand how to move the ball forward, move the ball forward like a sail. Like he understands.
How's the weather? Do you like living in Cortiba?
Exactly. Like all these
start
they don't move the sail or they don't move it forward. You need to make sure that it's like a sail. Every question you ask should have a purpose and should move the ball forward versus. Because if it maintains, it moves it back. But you just anyways, that's the point. Now, as far as red flags, depends on the country. Depends on the country, but a very big red flag that sounds obvious, but for a lot of guys it's not. Is if they end up at some point early on or whenever, unless it's like your girlfriend, if they have some excuse for money, like, hey, you know what? My grandma's sick. Can you send me fucking $1,000? Or hey, my phone broke. My red flag. Huge red flag.
Tattoos.
Tattoos. I was going to say that. I was literally going to say that. Tattoos. That's so funny. Tattoos. Huge red flag.
Brands. A lot of them are fake. But any girl that's wearing like a lot of designer branding everywhere, most likely you want to stay away.
What other? I'm trying to think of red flags.
If you hear them say amor in their text messages, be very careful. Like right out the gate. If you're dating for even like some months, because some girls are like that, they start saying it, but right out the gate, if you start seeing them like amor or baby and all that, be a little careful.
Yeah.
If they speak crystal clear English, it's not a red flag, but they date other gringos before. Okay, so
not always. I will say, because you'll agree with this, is the fact that they could have a wealthy family. Like some of them, they're gonna have great English. Let me just pull up. Let me just pull up. I have a list somewhere of red flags.
Take your time. Normally, I don't like talking about this anymore, but this group chat or Telegram, it's like the main focus for a lot of these dudes. It's not you promoting it, but
it's just in general, guys.
Yeah,
man,
this is a big thing for dudes in this travel world. Like it's on their top of their head priority. And I understand. Like when I first started traveling, like I really, it's a part of living. You want to share experiences, you want to date, you want to feel, but it's probably the main topic for men traveling abroad.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
And it's unfortunate though, because a lot of these dudes are not like bad dudes. Yeah, there's some, the quote unquote passport bros or whoremongers. Like there's some of them that are just freaks, But a lot of these dudes are like, I just didn't feel like I fit in back home, or I made this life, but I want to share it with someone. And then they come down here and they get lost in the sauce and they lose everything. They get their life destroyed. So it's good to talk about.
I got it. So these are more going to be kind of on a first date thing, but it's just as important because normally if you're tuned in, at least for me, I can tell if I meet someone for a few, like you can tell right away certain things and girls, it's hard to hide. So number one, if this happens, another thing, I've had this in Mexico once or maybe a couple other places too. If you're like, hey, we're going here, and she suggests the most expensive, she's like, no, why don't we go to the most expensive, like, why don't we go to this bar, restaurant that's the most expensive? Red flag, not a good girl. That's one. Tattoos, obvious one. Another one, just for me personally, if you're trying to find a girlfriend, I don't like girls that like to party that much. That's a very red flag. Maybe it's a Tate thing, but it's actually true. It's like, I want my girl fucking staying at her house, man. Just chill, like reading books, fucking going to church, like none of this crazy shit, right? Other thing I'll say on is disagreeable and never a good thing. Like you don't want, especially for a relationship, like you do not want a situation where you're like, hey, we're going here. And they're like, no, I don't want to go. Like, you gotta be careful because here's the thing is just being honest. Like as a man, if you don't have the frame in the relationship and you're not the one calling the shots, that's where every single bad thing happens. And I know this is with I will say both Nick and I, that's one thing we're good at that a lot of other people aren't good at, is we're very good at that frame thing with girls. When he's with when he's with a girl or whatever, he has frame. He's the one that's like, hey, we're doing this, we're going here. When I'm with my girl, or when I was with girls before, it's that. And the reason that's so powerful and why you should develop that, and why you can't have just a group of girls, the fact that, number one, as a guy, you like that, but the second thing I'm going to say on that is the fact that solves every single possible bad thing in a relationship. For example, a lot of guys fear, oh my god, what if I get this girl and we stop having sex? Well, if you have frame, that's never going to happen. Oh my god, what if I have this girl and she fucking breaks it with me and bro, if you have frame, it's not gonna happen. Oh my god, what if I'm with this girl and blah blah blah, like she cheats on me? All these things are negated by being the man, and that's why if she's disagreeable, if she tries to control things, you just know that maybe like it's just not probably an ideal girl long term. Now it depends how severe it is, because you also don't want them to be so easy, but like you don't want them to be also on the other end where it's like they're just difficult people type thing.
A lot of interesting points. Obviously, frame is a huge thing. I need some sort of agency out of the person.
I agree.
I don't want her to just say, yes, Nick, I'll do whatever you want and be a dud, okay? I dated that. I dated the Slavic virgin princess, and it was great. It was beautiful, but it wasn't like... it's good to have a little spice, okay? Now, if it's disrespectful for any of that stuff, like, that's not fun. Like, if she's, like, telling you to clean the room or something, like, okay, I'm going to be like, no, I don't want...
The difference is the main frame. I agree with you, but, like, notice for both of us, of course, I'm the same way, but, like, at the end of the day, if you were like, hey, we're doing this, or hey, this, like... It's not going to be like, doesn't happen, if that makes sense. That's very important.
100%. But as a dude, you're also cognitive of the woman, and you also want to make her happy. Mm-hmm. A lot of times, this is, red pill stuff. If the dude is happy, the woman is happy. But I also think you need to go out of your way to be like, okay, I know she likes this. Maybe, like, I'm going to do this surprise thing. I want to, make her feel good. That's a beautiful thing. It's all nuanced, this conversation. This is the worst thing that's happened since the red pill became mainstream. It's become this or that. you know, and it's always a healthy like tango dance between the man and the woman. Obviously, I think for the most part, from my experience, the woman wants to be led, okay?
I agree.
But she also wants to have some expression in her tango dance and put her leg up this way and that way. You know how they do the tango? Play some B-roll of the tango. I like tango. It's beautiful. So I really, it's tough because a lot of dudes like with the phone now and with the Andrew Tate and all that, like got exposed to this red pill in a way that was, you need to do this or you're stupid. No one, and I don't even think Andrew Tate is that black and white. I think he made a lot of stuff for baiting, for content, like the woman can't drive, right? He had some points to it, but people take everything literal, right? That's not the real world. The real world, there's shades, there's nuance, and there's so many different things going on. So don't get trapped in those bubbles. Go experience yourself. Go feel things. Obviously, you cannot be a dude that goes crazy. And there's a lot of women out here women are way more cunning than men. They're way more mentally sharp and like observing things and get what they want and set you up. And so you don't want to end up like that. You got to understand kind of how they think, how they operate. But all this stuff that people turn into hating women, like we were talking about the incels and all that. And no, women, like, this is the spice of life. This is what makes, food taste amazing. Like they create and you could be in a boteco in some slum in Brazil, and because you're with this girl, it feels like you're in heaven. You know what I mean? You're drinking a Bram, the shittiest beer. You're smoking a terrible cigarette, but you're like, damn, I'm so happy to be here with this woman. And I think that is the biggest thing I would say on this topic is you need to love women, but you need to be smart.
I agree, and I think I fully agree with everything you said. And on the women thing, it's because the problem is a lot of this kind of male advice on dating, it goes way too far without nuance, like you mentioned earlier. To nuance in a better way is exactly what you said, which is love women, respect women, give them agency, but be strong and never betray your manlyhood. So meaning, I'll give you an example. Never do something that just two things. Never do something that you wouldn't do and that you wouldn't want to do just to please a woman. You see this all the time, especially in the West. The second thing is never, like you said earlier actually too, never tolerate disrespect, just to maintain a relationship. It's basically just that. Still be a man, still lead, give her agency,
put your foot down,
and at the end of the day, the biggest thing I want to say, which I think Nick agrees with, I don't know, but I think is, for me at least, and I just what I've seen time and time again, what works in a relationship and what doesn't, if we're talking about a relationship, if you want to make a relationship work, is you need to be the one leading the relationship. Now, leading does not mean forcing. Leading does not mean not loving. Leading does not mean not respecting. But leading means that you are the one leading her. Because whenever you're not the one calling the shots, like the quarterback or the whatever that you want to call it, whenever you're not the one calling the shots in the relationship, that's where unhappiness happens, both for the woman, as much as they think they for the woman and for you.
True.
Is where all the bad stuff happens when the male-female dynamic gets swapped.
See, when the woman is in her feminine, the feminine doesn't mean weak or submissive necessarily. There's a very strong strength. The most strongest woman I've ever met have been the very traditional Eastern European, Southern Italian woman who, like, bro, if you make the wrong move or treat her bad, like, she's done with you. It's over. You know what I mean? Compared to this strong bad bitch who takes back, who's that relationship? Cardi B and the rapper. They were cheating on each other nonstop, and she's the strongest woman ever, and she ran right back to him. I think they're broken up now, but that's weak. I think when a woman tries to be a man, or what our perception is of a man and whatnot, they're not in what makes them the most powerful frame. And now, especially when a dude, on the vice versa, when a dude acts like a fucking chick, like they're losers and they're sad and they're fat, they're depressed, like. So yeah, there's definitely something between having a penis and having a vagina, and there's strength in both. And go into all the hippie stuff about the yin and the yang and Mother Earth and semen and stars, whatever. be a man, be a woman, respect each other. It's all Hakuna Matata. But I want to be now a little more practical.
Yeah.
Okay, traveling with a woman, and let's talk about that. Yeah, traveling with a woman, because we both have experience with that, and that's a whole different world from solo travel. You know, because now you're pretty responsible, even if she has money. You know, like if you go to scary areas, or like I was in freaking Tunisia and Turkey with a girl, which are notorious for if they're alone, they're not with their rap, they're gonna get maybe their ass slapped, all that. You're in dangerous places, kind of, even though she's a Latina. Tell me about the difference between solo travel and traveling with a woman.
Okay. Nick's taking a piss. I'm entertaining you guys now. Now traveling with a woman. It is a night and day experience of traveling. Honestly, as a man, it is absolutely infuriating. You guys know this if you've done it. It's infuriating in the way that it's just slower. For example, let's say as dudes, when we want to go travel to wherever the fuck we want to travel to, we can be ready like this. Boom, wake up, ready, go. With a woman, it's gonna almost always be a slower process. They gotta get their makeup done, the bags, the this, the that, the slow, all that. That's the first thing I'll say about traveling with a woman. The next thing I'll say is that you really discover when traveling with a woman, you discover a much more about her, and it's a very good litmus test. Like, I would recommend any single guy that's thinking of maybe taking a girl seriously, take a trip with her. Do a weekend trip, go somewhere, because when you're with her all the time, when there's maybe some hassles, some stuff, shit goes down, you really learn about the relationship, about her. And it's a very good way to catch red flags, or to say, you know what, this is a fucking great girl. Like with my girl, traveling is honestly pretty simple. I'm not saying it's fast. It is still slow as fuck, you know, she's trying to get ready and all these things, but it's a good litmus test. I know, like, she's still chill traveling. It's a good litmus test. The last thing I'll say on travel, as far as the danger side that Nick mentioned, I haven't really experienced that. Just number one for me is, I honestly, like, I'm not one of those guys. I have a lot of buddies that they love going to these fucking, like, for example, I have a buddy in Argentina, Nash. Shout out you, Nash. Nash, the most hated guy on Latin American Twitter. My friend Nash, he likes going to the kind of the seedy, crazy areas. Like there's kind of like a favela called Villa 31 in Buenos Aires. Like very dangerous place. And he actually went there one time. For me, I would never fucking go there ever. You would not catch me dead there. If I was there, I might be dead. Like I wouldn't want to go there. So like for me, my girl, she's from Colombia. She knows the game. I'm only really ever in the nice areas, and if I ever dip out of a nice area, it's to go to like the center of a city to like see some tourist shit. That's about it. But yeah, long story short, I'd say for travel, it's gonna be slower. It's infuriating. Good litmus test is a good girl, a bad girl you can tell pretty fast. And last thing is the danger. For me, I haven't really felt it, but I've also been to those crazy places like, you know, India, where they're maybe more prone to stuff, or Egypt maybe, or whatever.
Biggest thing is women need a lot more things to travel with, okay?
Yeah.
You can take a little travel suitcase, can go 3-4 months, Hakuna Matata, but the woman, they need the makeup, they need the product, you know, some need certain bed sheets, and, you know, I mean, they have a lot more, especially if it's not like a hippie girl. There's hippie girls that can do that, okay? Which is great. We love the hippie girls, but if you're trying to date kind of like the woman that maybe we both like, you know, they need certain things. So you have to, you know, adapt to that and understand that. A huge thing, okay, is they're away from their friends. Now, especially what culture they're from, this is a big thing, you know, and this is something maybe me and Graham need to have a talk about too, is they need like interaction with other friends and women. In some of these cultures, like if she goes to, a Colombian girl goes to Curitiba, you know, for a couple of months, it's very hard to go just meet a girlfriend and go for a coffee, right? Like I had a podcast with the Spanish couple in Diani Beach in Kenya, and they had a beautiful relationship, but she's like, I don't have any like girlfriends. I can FaceTime them, but I want to go, meet a local and have a coffee and gossip and talk about girly things, So this is really challenging. The biggest thing you have to do is say, hey, you need to call your friend back home. You need to set like times where you have like FaceTimes, okay? You got to do what you can. Luckily here, like the girl I'm seeing and Graham's girl are friends, so they've been going shopping together or doing different things, and both of them were like, oh my God, we're so happy that we have this, because when you're living this life and you're away from your friends, especially as a woman, your family, everything, it gets very difficult, and then that difficulty goes into kind of sadness or drama, and that's something you have to be very careful for. How have you dealt with that, Mr. Graham?
Yeah, so I haven't really dealt with it that much. I mean, because in Paraguay, her and I, my girl and I, we met in Buenos Aires, and we actually lived together for a bit there too. But she had a big circle of friends, so she was living there for like 7 years. In Paraguay, it wasn't that bad. Reason why is we would do a lot of these sports groups. So she had a few other Colombiana friends. They were in the sports groups and different things. She had a Colombiana friend, a Venezuelan friend. She would hang out with. She went like, I don't know. They went and made arepas. I don't know, doing weird, whatever shit they like.
A what?
Couple arepas, like arepas, the Colombian food, arepa.
Oh, they want to make it.
Made them, and all these whatever. So like that was fine. Here we've been here for less than a month. She was chilling with Nick's girl. She likes they're friends, whatever. So that's good. But I haven't really dealt with that much. I mean, I'll deal with it more. But I don't know much more to touch on. I think what we could touch on next. I think we're gonna touch on the second, which I think a lot of people like. We're gonna touch on the downside
to handle that for some
please.
people. I think go on. You're good with like the paddle and pickle thing. So if the girl is into sports, like have her join those groups where they play pickle or digital nomad meetups or any of that stuff. Even if you're not there, obviously go together sometimes, but just you need to be cognizant of. If you can handle loneliness, because this is what travel is about, is being lonely a lot of the times. But a lot of people that you bring with you or that start the journey with you, some of them aren't cut out for it, okay? And you have to make sure you figure out solutions for them and help them figure those solutions out. Otherwise, your relationship's going to blow up. You're both going to be needy. I need to be by you all the time. When you need space on the road, like right now, we're at the cigar lounge together, and I think your girl's at home. Like, you need space away, but that gets lonely, okay? So this is for the dudes that are traveling with women. You need to be very cognizant of that aspect that they might not be able to handle the loneliness like you can. What was the next topic?
I agree. No, we're going to hit on, Nick and I talked before, we're going to hit on a few more topics here.
Where'd you put that mic?
Oh, fuck. Sorry. I'm a podcast noob. We're going to hit on a few more topics here about kind of thriving in this kind of lifestyle. And then we're going to go on what you guys like. We're going to go in the downside. So you feel that. But as far as thriving in life, the big things that's in this life are honest. The people want to hear about. They want to hear about dating. And also safety, because a lot of people think it's like we're living in fucking, a war zone or fucking whatever. So I'll go in a little bit. What are some tips you have? I mean, for kind of you've been here doing this for a long time, and you've had maybe one minor thing, but you've been pretty fine. What are some tips you have for not getting scammed, safety, all these things?
Well, the main thing is, and he doesn't do it and I don't do it either, is don't show papaya, right? That don't show wealth in a lot of these places. And that is what they tell everyone and their mother to do, because you become a target, right? If you're looking really nice, depends where you stay, depends on what neighborhood, even in bad areas. But a lot of the times you want to dress down. You don't want to have jewelry on. You don't want to do any of those different things and just be cool. Take Uber, don't walk everywhere, which is unfortunate because I love walking. I've been doing a lot though in Curitiba because I feel safe. Buenos Aires, of course. But obviously the biggest thing is just don't make yourself a target, because there's some dude over here that maybe makes $200 a month that sees a foreigner and says, fuck this guy. Like, I could take his phone and live off it for 6 months. So you're in that kind of environment. It's not everywhere. It depends where you're at. Know your surroundings. You have to have awareness. You can't be, lollygagging with your phone, by the street. So a moto guy comes and take it, of course. But yeah, I don't subscribe to dressing down. I feel disgusted. Ciao, my friends.
Ciao, guys. Ciao, bro.
Take care. I don't subscribe to looking like a dork, because we talked about before this, you step out looking how the way you feel, that's a good first impression, but also it's internally how it makes you feel. So what do you think about that?
I agree. I'm never a guy that, like, for me, I just never want to. I don't know. I just want to, do my own thing, dress my own way. I'm not gonna wear like a fucking $20,000 watch or something. But I'll say this for safety, because I've also been like you. I've been blessed. I haven't had any violent crime or anything really go on. So a few things have happened, but I think the biggest thing is just be smart. So I wouldn't even say you need to dress down. I know, although it is advice, it's true, but him and I both don't, and we've been fine. I think a big thing is just be smart. So meaning, I actually walk all the time, and Nick does too, but I'm not going to be walking at night on an empty street, for example. That's not where I'm going to walk. I'm going to walk during the day. I'm going to walk at night, but in a busy area, right? That's one thing. So, like, know your surroundings. The second thing I'm going to say is, this is not, some people, I'd say the majority of people come to these countries and they're ultra fearful, but there's a percentage of people that just have this way too much delusion. So, like, it's not even a little bit, it's like, they're just expecting they can go to like this worst fucking area ever and walk like nothing. Don't do that. It's like, it's just not smart. So know that, like, before you go to a city, what are the good areas? Mostly stick there.
Good maps.
Exactly. Mostly stick there. When you're walking, walk with people there. With people around. Walk during the day.
Duck into stores.
Yeah, exactly. If you're in like a Colombia or parts of Brazil, don't walk with your phone out, for example. Other places you can, but like just these certain things. I honestly think if you stay in the right neighborhood, you're walking in the right times of day and around the right people, you're more or less going to be fine. I think it's really blown out of proportion, the danger. Yeah, it's there, but you can mostly control the majority of the variables if you do the right thing. And I think if you do that, you'll be mostly fine, is my opinion.
The Western mindset, I think it's changing now, is that the rest of the world is, dangerous. Like, even me, when I went to fucking Copenhagen, Denmark, I was like, okay, do I have to be worried? Because at this time I was carrying guns. I had a conceal and carry back in Minnesota, and I had some incidents. Whatever, I had like post-traumatic stress, and I'm like, hey, can I bring a gun to Denmark? I mean, this is delusional American mindset, okay? They're like, Nick, there's no guns here. There's no worry, no problem. But the world is safe for the most part, okay? 99% of people, I think, have good intentions. They're not, terrible people. Yeah. They have a decent heart. They want to eat. They want to support their family. But what I will say about like real dangerous places, especially because we're here in Latin America, there probably will become a time, if you stay here long enough, that something's going to happen, and you couldn't have done nothing about it. And when that time happens, okay, it is what it is. It's the cost of doing business. I give them this phone. I saved $10,000, the last couple months from cost of living, so this will make up for a $1,500 iPhone, right? Do not fight. Do not be Mr. Tough Guy. Yeah. But if you take the precautions, maybe it happened once in all these times. I know people that have never gotten, screwed over. Now, Graham said, okay, I don't go to the crazy places. I go to the crazy places all the time. I love that. I love to meet those people. I love to like document that way of life, and it fascinates me. It makes me feel alive. But even with all these travels, I've been all the freaking, worst favelas in Brazil, the largest slum in Africa, Kibera in Kenya, the floating villages of Cambodia. I've been to the worst of the worst. And through everything, I've only been robbed once, and it wasn't even in those places. Those places, especially if you know the right people, sometimes are the safest places in those areas, because the people there go outside of the village to do the crimes, right? In the village, everyone knows everyone. If you fuck up, you get your leg chopped off with a machete, right? So if you know someone, Hakuna Matata, or if you're just nice, kind, not just throwing money around, but you can talk and you want to meet them as people, not just document it, which I do. I document, but I tell them like, hey, I want to show this is interesting. You're going to be fine. So I think the main point, the safety thing, yeah, it gets so blown out of proportion, and we all go through it when we first come down here. We're all worried. We message on the Facebook groups, we talk to people, but you're going to be fine. Okay, unless you're just absolutely retarded. You on Tinder, the first girl that has face tattoos says, please come to my place 30 minutes away.
For a threesome.
Yeah, and for a threesome in the fucking barrio. Like, if you don't do that, you're going to be good. Or you don't do much of it, clubbing, okay? So if you go late at night, right, that's where you start getting scoped. That's where you start, you go outside the bar at 3 o'clock and someone doesn't like that you're with this girl or something. But I don't do that as much either. But even when I did do it, I'm a happy drunk, so I never had too many issues. But yeah, it's not that dangerous.
I agree. And now about getting scammed. So I've never had anything violent, but I've been scammed. Really only twice, and exactly. So, my main thing about getting scammed is the taxis. Normally, I mean, you might get a few times. It's gonna happen where sometimes they rip you off, whatever. Like you lose $3, who really cares? But I would caution against personally using taxis here, and I'll tell you the reason why. Is I've been lucky in the sense that nothing's bad's happened. Like, I got scammed a couple $100 total. But there are scenarios where there's fake taxis, right? Where it can be a kidnapping, express kidnapping, all these different things. They can rob you for everything. So, like, my big thing I would say is do not take taxis. That's the first thing. The second thing I'm going to say is that I do all the time now is in most of Latin America, out of habit now, before I tap my card, I look at what the amount is, because that's how I've been scammed. Is that I'm just like, trust the person. I tap, and the amount is with an extra zero or a lot more. So I would say beyond that, if you don't take taxis, and if you just try your best before you tap your card to look at what the amount is, you don't need to do it always. If you do that, there's not much risk, in my opinion, of being scammed.
Yeah, so this kind of topic is a little bit played out with, oh my God, the guy in the street sold me coffee for $1 more than what the locals pay, and just pay it. It's not going to kill you to pay $1 instead of fucking 10 cents, right, for a coffee. But where I push back on it is, if you're going to live in a place, you need to put your foot down in a light, fun matter, okay? So it's like, no, estupido gringo, my amigo. You know what I mean? Like, smiling at him, like, no, I'm not going to pay this. Like, come on. Because you're going to see this guy again. You understand? Right? And all of a sudden, he starts saying, hey, there's this gringo here. And that word gets around. Okay, this gringo is going to throw, 5, 10x for whatever we charge. So get them. They don't respect it. When you put your foot down and you say, like, no, amigo, like, hey, I'm here, I want to pay, a normal price. Okay, I'll pay a little premium as a gringo, but don't act like I'm a fish, because the second you get the fish tag, I'm not talking about major cities here, I'm talking when you go off the beaten path and you're in Bessa and João Pessoa, and the local kids see that you're giving them money on the street, they're going to tell everyone else that, hey, when you see that gringo, because there's no other fucking gringo in that neighborhood at the moment, you're going to get taken advantage of, okay? So if it's a one-off time, yeah, okay, I'll pay $1 for an oyster instead of 30 cents or whatever it is, right? But to not get scammed, it's all about checking, like he said, check what it is, they know that you're not just throwing money around. And I love throwing out the no estupido gringo, even though that's not even like correct Spanish or Portuguese, but they're like, oh, okay, he's not an idiot. He's been around. Like in Egypt, for example. Hey, how much do you want for this? 1,000 Egyptian pounds. My amigo, I give you 100 Egyptian pounds. No, 700. But it's a good price for you. It's a good price. 100. My amigo, okay, you're right. You're my friend. 500. No, I don't want it. Like, I know what it's worth. 100. Okay, 200. Boom. Give you 200. Go from there. Like, then, for example, that's how I had one of my best friends in Egypt, in Hurghada. He did the exact same thing to me. He realized I wasn't a fucking dork. I said, yo, if you want to talk to me like a human being, not just try to sell me, after I bought something, let's do it. We talked. 2 weeks later, from Hurghada to Luxor, I was invited to a local wedding. No other white person at this wedding. It was the craziest thing ever. Because he's like, damn, he's a real dude. Like he still supported, my business and whatnot. But, he wants to be treated like a normal person. Because when you come to these places, there's a lot of stereotypes that you have more money than God, okay? And for most part, compared to what they make, you do, okay? So they want to take advantage of that. They want to go from there. But when you show that, like, hey, I'm treating you with respect, unlike a lot of people in Latin America, the high class treats the low class or the middle class like dirt. They don't even look at them in their eyes. Like, it's terrible. When you show them, like, hey, no, I'm looking to, build relationships and actually have a good conversation, the whole thing switched and a different world is opened up. Also, speak the local language if you want to get the best deals. I don't do that, but that will help a lot of people. Or have your girl go in there first.
That's what I do all the time.
Yeah.
Exactly, all the time. Like even in Brazil, when I was in Floripa and I was just like, on the beach. This not just try to scam you. So I had my girl go up first, and then I would like come up after to get a better deal, but on drinks and stuff. But I think last thing we're gonna hit on, I don't know your thoughts on the thriving side. Then we're gonna go on the kind of the challenges, but. The last thing we're going to hit on is the importance of the right neighborhood. For me, I think that is maybe one of the number one things about how satisfied you with the city is based on the neighborhood you pick. I don't know your thoughts, Nick. What are your thoughts on the importance of picking the right general area or neighborhood?
I think when you first go to the city or when you first start traveling, do it, okay? Go to the Batel, go to the Palermo or Recoleta, the rich area, the safe area. Once you're based there, start exploring, okay? Go to the, more colonial neighborhoods, the more hippie neighborhoods. And then, okay, next month, okay, now I like Recoleta, I'll stay there. But, oh, wow, this vibe over here, this is different. This is unique. I wouldn't go, like, right off the boat, even if you've been traveling, and pick like the 6th-tier neighborhood that all the Reddit people or Twitter, dudes that have been traveling for a while say to go to, right? Like, I think you need to get your bearings, then move out, because obviously 1, cheaper, 2, more authentic. You're not going to be surrounded by a lot of touristic or super rich people. You're going to like dive into like the real culture. But I definitely agree. Neighborhoods will completely shape your experience. Like, what happens if I would have chose that place in Central Assumption instead of
exactly?
I would have been freaking bored out of my mind and taking Uber every day to meet people. So there's a healthy balance between it.
Yeah, I think I'll agree and I'll give some nuance. I think it depends. I think when you first start, like traveling and the nomading thing, I think always pick the most kind of common, just because you're getting your bearings on these things. But I will say, once you've done a little bit more, like Nick does sometimes, what I do sometimes, like just know. It doesn't mean don't experience other stuff. I think experience it all, but kind of know what you like and pick based on that for the place you're living. It doesn't mean don't visit or do crazy trips or whatever. But I think here's the reason why. I mean, like, I'll give you an example. I mean, it's like if you, in any city you go, whether it's Assumption, whether it's where we are here, your direct day-to-day experience is based on the neighborhood. So like if you're someone that likes the hipster vibe, for example, a lot of people do. If you like the hipster vibe, go there. Go to the Barranco, go to maybe Palermo, Soho, Chacoritas, whatever. If you like kind of the bit more high-end vibe, go to the Polanco, the Recoleta, the wherever. But just pick a neighborhood, go on Twitter, go on wherever, and just pick a neighborhood that jives with you, and I think you're going to notice you're going to have a much better experience. Yeah, that's kind of, for me, I think that's kind of pretty good for, like, thriving. And now we can get into maybe the kind of challenge. I don't know anything else.
To push back on that,
please,
is sometimes you don't know what you like, okay? And it's good to get out of that environment, like we were talking about at the beginning of this podcast. Would I go straight off the boat? Like normally I like staying in a rich, luxurious area. Should I go stay in San Telmo and Buenos Aires? Probably not. I'll stay in Recoleta, Palermo, and then go check it out. Okay, maybe I like it. But when you go to these new areas, you figure out more stuff about yourself and what you like, okay? No one, even the freaking 67-year-olds, maybe, they don't have it all figured out, right? So it's good to try different things, but if you're a kind of person that says, hey, I need to be able to walk to a cafe because I like to work there and I don't want to take an Uber every day, or I want to make sure the Wi-Fi is good, okay, yeah, you're going to probably choose that one neighborhood. But the biggest thing is with choosing your location, I think you do a pros and cons list, but also you got to roll the dice every once in a while, because that's when you really grow and really learn more things about yourself.
I agree. It's like the whole thing. A lot of people are like, oh, you see it all the time. If you're like, I don't like sushi, then they try sushi. Like, oh, it's actually good. Like it's a very common thing where we have this kind of visceral built up thing in our mind that we don't like X. Try it. Check it out. What's the worst that happens? And I agree with that. I just think the more you do it, the more you kind of know. Like I kind of know, you know what, this is probably where I'll like. great. But I think everyone, like, I've stayed,
Except Floripa, you didn't listen to me.
yeah, which I should have. You know what? And that was my gut feeling.
Oh, you were
too.
trying to do the hippie. You were trying
I was
to do something
trying to do a little different, and I realized, whoa, that's not me. And I should have done my gut feeling, like, hey, you said it, and I initially, you know, I'm gonna like that area, but whatever. I didn't go there, and he was right. I'll admit it. He was right. I was wrong. Anyways, that's kind of for me all in the. Do you have anything else in thriving? I think we can maybe get on to the kind of the challenges. If you
we have more better. We can keep it rolling.
Let's roll in the challenges. So cool. We are rolling. This is gonna be a nice, meaty, good podcast. Yeah, I think now we're gonna help talk about the downsides. I think a lot of times you look online, you see this laptop lifestyle. Like, holy shit, the women, the beaches, the paradise, the freedom. It's like fucking perfect. It's not. There's downsides. I think we've hit on one downside at the start, but another downside I'll say is the discipline side. I think we've talked a bit about the kind of the motivation side, but discipline is it's a lot harder on the roads. Like, maybe you touch and I'll touch too. Maybe you touch on, if you want to, why it's harder is what you do to kind of stay disciplined.
Yeah, because your environment is totally different, right? You have no freaking pattern recognition. You have no necessarily routine, but you can develop the routine. But like, your setup in your house is going to be different. The new cafe Wi-Fi might be slower. There's so many different factors. Like, you're starting over, you know, like a new climate, you know, like you're adjusting to that. So yes, this is a big challenge. And a lot of travelers talk about it. A lot of people can't even handle it. But to me, the biggest thing why I like this lifestyle is because of the different environments, the non-pattern recognition that snaps me out of autopilot. I think if I get in too much of a routine, too much of an autopilot, my life goes way too fast, okay? When I have things mixing and matching and, oh my God, this is new architecture, these are new people, there's different languages, I feel alive, I feel inspired, I feel motivated, right? So there's a healthy pro and con to this, but for me, the best thing, and I talked about this on the Way of Jurors podcast, is you need to develop some sort of routine, and I do it in the morning, that will make your brain feel like you are in a home-like state. So even though I'm not in my same home every day or same country, city, all that, I do morning affirmations. I wake up, okay, put the pen to the paper, boom, boom, boom. I meditate at night. That keeps me in my own internal world. Obviously, working out is massive. So you need to pick different things like this, writing a to-do list before you go to sleep, okay? Things that will always be the same no matter where you are, what language it is, what weather, if it's a beach or a mountain, you're going to have it in your head like, damn, I have some stability. Because that's the biggest problem in this life, is that people cannot operate without routine and stability.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, so for the discipline side, I'll give you the challenges and then I'll give you what I do myself, which is the challenges in this life is the fact that there's a few different ones, but you can't rely on external motivators like you very easily can in the West. So meaning the pace of life generally in this lifestyle, it's slower. Like if you're in fucking New York City, you're going to be dialed in. If you're in really any city in America, Canada, Western Europe, you're going to be kind of dialed in instantly. The pace of life's just slower. The second thing is no one is holding you accountable at all. You're there. You don't have any friends holding you. You have no one holding you accountable. You're just there doing your thing. So it's all internal. Now, the biggest thing that I do to stay motivated, or to try to stay disciplined, is kind of what he mentioned, but it's just have a routine. I wake up at this time. I log off at this time. I do this. If you have a routine, you're gonna be fine. And execute. And like a quote I always like to use, like it's like, don't worry about your feelings. Just get the job done, right? Don't worry about how you feel. Just get the job done, and then chill after. But that's kind of what I would say on that.
Biggest thing. So okay, you said in New York or back where you're from, you have your friends or the people you see around you. like keeping you on track, or like you see them doing this, so this is how I should live life, instead of freaking in Italy aperitivo every day after work, drinking a couple spritz, right?
Yeah.
Smoking cigarettes on the cobblestone streets. This is why the social media and these Telegram groups and all that is very important, because then you can be held accountable by your little online friends, that have similar ideas, aspirations, way of life, and you're not just completely lost in the sauce in the local culture. Which there's a trade-off on that too. It'd be great to just like I did this. I went to the beach in Fortaleza with no phone, no jewelry, no wallet, nothing, and I was out there for 5 hours, from 10 to 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I felt so free. So that's a trade-off between having your phone, all the advantages of it, but also being totally immersed in a place with no other care. But my main point was, if you're doing this solo travel life, I think, and I never did it, okay, because I was plugged in half the year with the football, the community, and all that. But another half, I said, fuck you, I don't want to be around you guys. Like, I grew up with you guys. I want to go experience new things. But the last couple of years, I've been like, hey, let's meet these dudes, because they can relate to me. They understand our culture, understand different things, and we still understand this new lifestyle, but also growing and building and doing different things. That's a key thing on the road, is go on the social media and find like-minded people to keep you on a good path and not go off the deep end, not go party every day, not be a man whore type thing.
I agree. How do you deal with, though, the different subjects, the no stability?
I told you, the morning routine is my biggest thing. That's all I need. I do my affirmations. I have my morning coffee on the toilet, thinking, planning, meditation at night, and those three things, and working out. I need to have some sort of running around, gym, get the endorphins in my brain flowing. And then also, talking to people back home. So like your best friends, your family, getting on the phone with them. If I have that criteria, people say this, like, don't you miss, your best friend or your family? It's like, I could see my best friend after 2 years today. He could walk in here and it'll be like nothing changed, Like, that's like my mindset on that aspect. It's really weird. And a lot of people, they don't understand it because they've never been in that situation. But if they're really your people, and you'll know this if you travel, you'll see who was your friend because of environment and because you were drinking buddies or whatever. They go away really quick. When you leave, it cuts all the bullshit out. You say, oh, wow, this was my dude. We still talk. That's my homie. My family is all that matters. You know what I mean? Like, that becomes a reality check.
Interesting. I think for me, that was probably the I think the stability thing. I agree with that, and that all helps. But I would personally say that's probably the hardest thing about this life on the road, is the stability and the quote unquote loneliness. I think it's probably the most difficult thing. It's an example. Let's say you have certain goals for your life, and you're living in wherever the fuck, living in Detroit, some random place in Detroit, and you're living there. You have your people, your circle. It's all stable. It's that environment. It's more stability. I think for me, what helps, a few things help, but one of the main things that helps to negate that loneliness and instability is what he mentioned. I agree with all of it. The routine, all the stuff is true, but do not overlook, like many of us did, like myself, I did. Do not overlook male friendships. Do not overlook that. I think a lot of us are guilty. I know I was. I'm sure you've been, where you go to a new city and your only social interaction is online with your homies back home, which is good, and dates with girls. You're only in persons with girls. You're not going to be satisfied with that. So I think really take time to cultivate some friend groups in the place you're in. For that, sporting groups are good. Twitter's really good for it. Cigar lounges, cultivate that. And I will say, one of the biggest keys for me, to be totally frank, that's helped even more than that, and it won't happen for everyone, but if you do end up finding, and you're good with understanding good and bad, if you find a really good girl, and you need to be careful on this because there's a lot of but if you actually find a really good girl, that is also a huge help for stability, because it kind of like everywhere you go, you have you and that person. You kind of have, it's a huge help if you can find that. That's kind of a mind on that. I think the other thing we have, which is...
It's a great point, though. It's a great point. Like, I've been blessed. Like I said, half the year I'm thrown into community with dudes in a warrior type sport, so you have that brotherhood bonding. But if you're going in this life with not that, you need to find friends fast. And I think the best thing you can do, that this is what Chris does, like that's why he chose Bali too, like the paddle, the working out, the digital nomad meetups, like you meet like-minded people living similar lifestyles, but you cannot neglect bro relationships. Even if you got the homie on the FaceTime that you know if shit hit the fan, you could call him and he's gonna fly down here and solve the issue for you. You need man-to-man conversation, hanging out when you're traveling. Otherwise, you go freaking crazy. Otherwise, you get lost in the sauce. You start supplicating it with partying, drinking, womanizing, and it's never going to fulfill you, okay? Like, dudes, like, yeah, you're a young guy, and you look at Dan Bilzerian. I remember when I was young, we see Bilzerian, we're like, oh my God, this is crazy. This would be like kind of fun. Like I want to experience that. Then you get even a taste of the hedonistic lifestyle and you realize, oh my God, there's a reason all these people that said money doesn't buy happiness or, don't be a playboy and listen to the Bible. A lot of them are right because not many get to actually experience it. It's like a thing that is not real to them until they taste it and they're like, damn,
I agree. I think another big challenge, at least for me, and I know I'm sure you've experienced it, is, and I really have never had anyone talk about this, or maybe like one time, and it's also a very hard thing, and that is breaking girls' hearts or ending a relationship because of your lifestyle. I've had multiple times where like, I'm going to the airport, right, and whatever, I was with this girl for maybe 2 months, whatever, and she's like bawling her eyes out, she's destroyed. Like it's a really hard thing, and I think just you have to either make a decision of like, hey, you know what, I'm putting this lifestyle above that, and it's for this phase of my life, this lifestyle, this on the road thing, that's my North Star. It's above that. Everything else is second.
You have to.
Or you have to, if you ever find one that is that girl, and again, you need to really, we can talk about it later if you want, but really need to vet how you know if it's the right girl. But if you do find that, the other option is eventually maybe she comes with you or whatever. But you got to make sure it's the right one. But that's a very challenging thing for a lot of guys as well, is that part.
I've had the girl of my dream 4 times in the last 8 years, and every time that the eventual kind of breakup happened, or when I was called to go somewhere else, and there was a part of me that said, no, this is it. This is where I need to be. I need to be with this woman. But something in my heart or my gut was saying, no, you have to go to this place because this or that, right? And I would do it. And it would hurt, for a week or two. Then I'd slap myself. I'd get better. It would still hurt. But every time I fucking did it, 1, I am beyond grateful I did, and 2, something better came along, okay? And this is the most important thing about trusting your gut, especially on the road, is like, you are on a path, okay? Whether it's the hero's journey, whether it's something, I don't know, but if something is calling you to go this certain way, and there's something that's saying, no, stay back, or it's comfort, I like her, it's beautiful, amazing. If your gut says go, you gotta fucking go. Because guess what's gonna happen? More than likely, everything is gonna be Hakuna Matata. She's gonna say, hey, I'm gonna support you. We're gonna see each other in 3-4 months, or maybe I start coming with you traveling. If not, you see her true colors back on the road. And like I said before, another better thing happens on the road. And it's the universe testing you, okay? That's what it is. You want comfort, or do you wanna continue on your path, right? One day or another, you're gonna realize, no, this is what I actually wanted. This is what was meant to be. And a lot of people, they quit early. They stop because they're afraid to go through the pain, okay? But I'm telling you right now, I wrote a beautiful tweet about this. We'll put it up here. I've dealt with this, and I cannot believe if I would have stayed in the first one, the second one, the third one, the fourth one, like what my life would have been if I had not followed it. Because guess what also? If I would have said no to this girl, you're right, I'm going to give up what I want to do, what my gut is telling me, just for you, I guarantee you after a couple months, I'm gonna be like, damn. And she's gonna be like, damn, he's not as happy as he once was. He's not the same dude I first met, who I fall in love with. You know what I mean? So be very careful with that.
And I agree. I think like the key there's a lot of keys, but one of the things is trust your gut. So meaning, I'll give you an example. Eventually for Nick, I'm sure, maybe not, it's going to happen where his gut tells him, you know what? This time I think it's different, whatever. So it's a couple of things. It's trust your gut, and it's also trust the plan and the vision you have for your life. So meaning, if you really have this vision of your life of continuing to travel and you want to continue doing it solo and in your gut, don't not do that because of the pain or the discomfort. But on the other hand, everything in life has nuance. There's certain scenarios where maybe you've done that multiple times, and the right thing you think is to continue the journey. Either stop the journey there and maybe settle down. I have no problem to do that. I know people have done that. Or to test it a little bit more and then maybe bring her with you, like if it's the right one. But you just need to. The key really is to trust your gut and don't deviate from the desire or plan you have based on comfort. I think would be probably the key to that.
But the initial thing was heartbreaking thing. I think if you are honest with the woman from the get-go, okay? And I think every dude should be, even if it slaps you in the face and you don't get laid because you told her up front kind of who you are and what you're about. As long as you be honest with him, okay? As long as you give him, respect and all that. All my relationships, I think besides one, but I think we're still good, the 4 girls I talked about have all came back to me and have been very cordial and been like, damn, Nick, like, thank you for this. We both grew as people. We both had a beautiful time. No bad blood. And we both realized, like I was talking to my recent ex, she's happy. I'm happy. And we realized, like, yeah, we need to learn something from our time together, but it was never meant to be, okay? Even at the time when I was thinking crazy things and she was thinking crazy things, and now we got refreshed, and we realized it was not the path, right? So that's a big thing. And you need to leave the woman better than you found them, okay? You have to do that. It's not about how many women you fucked, how beautiful they are, how much of a stud you are. The biggest thing I think that tells a lot about someone's character is if those women will talk good about you. Your exes, if they will talk good about you, that means you are doing the right thing.
I agree. I think
anything else?
That's a marathon, man.
Yeah.
I think we hit a lot of good stuff. I think, on my end, that's it. I think if you're planning on the lifestyle or in the lifestyle, I think the biggest thing is just have fun. Be grateful, be safe, and and just enjoy it.
I think that's the biggest thing you learn, okay, too. Enjoy it and don't long for more, okay? Because you go to this place, you meet people, you share good times, you have a great cafe, a good cigar lounge. Enjoy the moment. This is what the road teaches you, to enjoy it, because it's going to go, okay? Just like your friend's going to die in 40 years, okay? But this is life on fast forward mode. So when you're in this, don't long for more. Enjoy the time you had together and go on to the next thing, okay? And one time, there will be a time that it's like, hey, this is where I'm going to be. This is where I'm going to stay. Or if it's multiple places. Enjoy shit, okay?
I agree.
And live bold.